Okay, so in this episode of me talking about episodes of Mobile Suit Gundam Gquuuuuux, we are on episode 6, and we are about to leave the original series and move on to the Zeta arc, or Zeta arc, whatever way I want to say it. But yes, we start off with introduction of, basically this is the lady who designed and essentially co-piloted Charlie's model armor in the original series. She is no longer dead. Yeah, they talk about some stuff about Chrysilla and like the transferring of the mobile suit he asked for in the previous episode. And moving on, we have Xavier and the undercover guy he's working for, with. So it turns out Xavier's actually working directly for Chrysilla and essentially spying on Charlie as he's working directly for Gundam. So there's some sort of discussions about that and a potential assassination plot. And the fact that she's coming to visit the colony. Then Neon is making dumplings and she wants to eat food with Shuji and Machu. Obviously she's just been sniffed. Shuji does that. He's a bit special. And also Machu was bringing apples to feed Suji and saw what was happening and then left. The NTR is still happening at this point. Great times. Then we have the boss lady from the Pomeranians talking to Charlie, and essentially they're discussing the returning of the Gquuuuuux to Zeon with a monetary reward, which honestly doesn't seem too bad. And they also talk about the next opponents in the clan battle, which is, I believe they mentioned that they might be related to the Federation in some point, and this is basically, they are bringing in an air conditioning unit, which is actually a mobile suit, or maybe two. And yeah, this image is kind of interesting. It's obviously, if you're familiar with things, Masamune is essentially the facility that makes cyber new types, which are basically like meant to counter new types. Yeah, and also that looks like an image of Camille when he had his broken helmet from Zeta as well. There's also a purple thing coming out. I don't know what that could be. But yeah, it's like, so we don't mention like who's this? It's something Federation related, right? And then it moves on to, so Boss Lady's talking with, I'm assuming he's like the second in charge. They're basically discussing if they're going to return the Gquuuuuux for money, and also they know the location of Red Gundam, and they're planning to sell that to Charlie as well. And here's some pictures of it. I wonder how she got those pictures. And then obviously Match at this point is listening to the conversation. And then what happens here is she basically hides, the boss lady leaves, and then she basically comes out, and this other guy the boss lady was talking to basically tells her to stop coming to pitch clan bats, because he's basically against the idea and essentially wants to protect her in whatever way he can. And then here she is being depressed and wondering how she can essentially save Suji, as she's concerned that if she tells him, he'll run away and she'll never get to see him. So she's trying to figure out a way to help him essentially move through Gundam and stuff before telling him he's being tracked. And here's the funny thing. She's clearly very special and very not very smart when you think about it, because it's quite possible and quite logical if we go back here, right? So she's got the pictures in front of her, and look, if you so basically what's happened, right, when you think about it, is Haru on the desk. I wonder why. And when you look at the next pictures, it honestly looks kind of below like waist high. Like it's not like, this isn't a person eye, it's something lower. So basically what's happening, obviously it hasn't been confirmed, but I'm pretty confident of it happening is Haro. I may have called him Haro actually, but Haro is essentially like the boss lady owns it. Why does she let Matthew just carry it around? So even though it might actually have a mind of its own, it's clearly recording and taking pictures, and the boss lady then gets it and takes the pictures of it. So that's clearly what's happening, and she's too dumb to realize that. But that's okay. Moving on. We then have a parent-teacher conference where we discover, because last episode, or the episode before, her mum's mad at her because on her what she wants to be in the future sort of questionnaire thing, she wrote down a jellyfish. And that's fine, maybe she wants to be a jellyfish. But now we know why, specifically why she wants to be a jellyfish. As the reason something she wants to do in the future is swim in the oceans on Earth. So she wants to be a jellyfish so she can swim in the oceans on Earth, which I think is fine, but my mum isn't happy with this for some reason. I don't know why. Moving on, so next minute we've got the big reveal. This is essentially the main antagonist of Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta. And he's the leader of the Titans. So yes, it's the Titans. And I believe, so I saw someone mentioning that the name of a Clanbat team is like, it's like the 12 Olympians and something, which in a way could be a reference to Titan, because I don't know exactly how many, I think it was like 5 or something of the first Olympians were birthed by Titan. So that could be a reference there potentially. And then we're introduced to this girl, who's basically the next pilot that Matthew's going to have to face. And she's been, as with most Cyber types, a bit brainwashed. Essentially, they find ways to make them do what they want to do, whether lying to him, whatever. And this girl is so far up there that she doesn't see herself as her. She sees herself, essentially the mobile suit she pilots is what she thinks herself is, and she sees herself as the heart of it. And she also mentioned, essentially she's the heart of the Psycho, which basically means the Psycho Gundam's coming. Now, the thing about the Psycho Gundam, which is referencing to the title of the video, every single time the Psycho Gundam appears in either Zeta or the Psycho 2 and Double Zeta, someone important dies. So my expectation of that is, ideally, if they wanted to be accurate, either Shuji or Nyan's gonna die, but it probably won't be either of them, so it's gonna be a secondary character like Xavier. So I don't think they'll kill Charlie. They could though. There's gonna be like a secondary character that we've spent enough time with. So something like Xavier, it could be potentially maybe the boss lady of the Pomeranians, could even be Match's mum even. Yeah, so someone's going to die. And we need to be prepared for that. And then Matchu basically is praying at a shrine when he visits regularly. I don't know, maybe there's some communication off screen, but basically Matthew decided to put the NTR behind her as they need to work together. She basically needs help to help Shuji without telling him he needs help. So they'll sort of settle, bury the hatchet. And then next minute we have a couple of military police guys are trying to essentially kill Xavier because he's like on their turf and they don't like that. And then Charlie flies in and shoots him and kills him. And then at this point Xavier's basically wondering, depending on what happens, like if he has to, in order to save Chrysilla, if he has to kill Charlie, can he? So we might find that out next time as well. And then we get this shot of Celia Zabi without her usual helmet and stuff, and she's clearly had like that vocal fat removal surgery, what makes everyone looks gaunted and ghoulish, like that Miguel who plays Starlight in The Boys. Looks terrible, and everyone should stop doing it, especially her. It just makes you look terrible. Please don't do it. And then, that's basically the end of the episode, and then the post-credit scene is a gigantic purple mobile suit. It does achieve horns, so it is a Gundam, in the city, making big explodey things out of its hand. This is the Death Incarnate that we should be looking forward to next week. But yeah, thank you for coming, everyone. I hope you liked my thoughts on things I found interesting about this episode. And leave a comment below if you have any additional thoughts. Or anything, really. Looking forward to hearing anyone's feedback and stuff. And yeah, make sure you give us a like and subscribe as well. And I will see you all next time. For the next episode. Of this. About the next episode. Of Gquuuuuux.